Throughout my time playing competitive fighting games such as Street Fighter V, BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, and Dragon Ball FighterZ, there was one title that stood out to me the most, Dragon Ball FighterZ. In this video, I will give you a brief introduction of Dragon Ball FighterZ, then I will explain how the design qualities and players' connection to the game made it one of the best fighting games of the decade. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a 2D 3v3 fighting game developed by Arc System Works and published by Bandai Namco. The game was released in multiple consoles, including the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam on PC. The game received great reception from players upon release and was highly praised by pro fighting gamers. The game sold over 2 million copies upon the first week, is the best-selling Dragon Ball title to date, and currently holds the largest number of existing players on Steam for a fighting game. So what made Dragon Ball FighterZ so successful? To answer this question, we have to look at the design qualities of the game and the community fanbase that supports it. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a ludus game with a specific set of rules that is unlike many other fighting games. There are many ways to play the game, but like all games in the fighting game genre, the main game mode played is player versus player competition, or Agon. The story mode narrative is linear and not interesting, and is not what attracts the fanbase. So for this video, I will discuss how the game is played against other players. The game is an exemplary model of the fighting game genre because it falls under social, mastery, and action from the gamer's motivation model. The game falls under social because players compete with others online for a higher rank, or in tournaments for cash prizes. Because of this, the fighting games genre has a strong community of committed players. This community is called the Fighting Games Community, or the FGC. In the FGC, players strive to compete, socialize, and learn from other players. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a game that is fast-paced and full of excitement. The visually impressive graphics and flashy moves attract not only the FGC, but also almost all of the Dragon Ball fanbase. To understand why the game is successful as a fighting game, let's analyze it relative to the MDA framework. MDA stands for Mechanics, Dynamics, and Aesthetics. Mechanics are the basic components for the game, such as the rules and actions players can take. Dynamics are how the mechanics can be used by the player. And aesthetics are the emotions evoked in the player when playing the game. A successful game must have a good balance between all three of these elements. First, let's take a look at the mechanics and dynamics of the game. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a one-on-one player versus player game. The main goal of the game is for players to look for ways to reduce all three of the opponent's characters' health bars to zero, hence winning the game. To reach the goal of the game in tournament, players have to follow the written rules, operational rules, behavioral rules, and laws. The operational rules is what players must do to play the game. In this case, players must use the attack buttons to reduce the opposing player's health. The written rules is that when a player loses all three of your characters, they lose the game. The behavioral rule is what players must do to follow good sportsmanship. The law is a tournament rule that must be followed in tournaments. An example of behavioral rule and law is not distracting your opponent outside the magic circle when both players are playing the game. The game objects of the game are the characters that can be played and played against. The 28 characters cast offers a wide range of characters to choose from to make your team unique and different from other players. These characters are dynamic in ways they can throw out moves and attacks based on the player's inputs. Another game object is the health bar of the character. When the health reaches zero, the character dies. The bar on the bottom of the screen is the player's key gauge. This bar allows power-up versions of special moves and ultimate moves to be used. Here are some examples of ultimate moves and powered-up moves. But how do you play the game? To make things less complicated, let's analyze the skill set of a standard yet solid 3-character team: Android 16, Goku Black, and Vegeta. Players can choose multiple functional interactivity for the controller. Players can use an Xbox One controller, PlayStation 4 controller, a fight stick, or even a keyboard. There's no right choice of controller and it's all up to preference. Personally, I use a fight stick, as I am most comfortable playing fighting games the traditional way. I'm playing a game on Steam, and the gameplay feels well suited for fight stick as I have minded each button on my fight stick to perform a specific action. All characters in the game have a light attack, medium attack, a heavy attack, and a special attack. Players can also call other characters for assist, or change the other characters by holding down the button. They can press a heavy and special button to super dash their opponent, or they can press the medium and heavy button to vanish. They can also press a button to Dragon Rush, which is a grab and blockable. On the receiving end, the other player can block by simply holding back or down back. If it moves a high medium attack, you block high. If it moves a low attack, you block low. You can also attack a Dragon Rush by pressing any button. There are even more advanced mechanics in the game, such as Reflect. As the name suggests, reflects the opponent's attacks. At first glance, this may seem really amazing defensive ability. However, if overused, the opponent can instead punish or reflect with a Dragon Rush, as shown. All characters have quarter circle, forward, and back movesets for each button. As you can see, here are some of Goku Black's abilities. Once players know the basics of the game and practice, they will be able to perform high damage combos, create solid block strings, and block attacks more consistently. Here's an example combo that is relatively difficult. This requires more mastery and experience. Here is an example of a mix-up. Android 16 uses an alternate level 3 move. After the move, he has many options to mix up his opponent. You can throw out a normal attack, you can throw out a low attack, you can do a cross-up overhead, you can Dragon Rush, you can cross-up low, and there are tons more options such as frame trapping and baiting out sparking. Players need mental skills to learn mix-up in the game in order to win and beat their opponent. Although this may seem like a lot to take in, Dragon Ball FighterZ is actually one of the easier fighting games, especially for beginners. This is because of the easy to use abilities such as the Super Dash and auto combos make the game beginner friendly for players new to the fighting games. Because of this, the Dragon Ball fan base is introduced to the fighting games community, resulting in a mixed fan base that is bigger than even Street Fighter V. Moving on, let's talk about the aesthetics of the game. According to Hideko, LeBlanc, and Zubek, there are 8 types of aesthetics including sensation, fantasy, narrative, challenge, fellowship, discovery, expression, and submission. The type of aesthetics that apply to Dragon Ball FighterZ is sensation, challenge, fellowship, and expression. Sensation is when players experience something they are unfamiliar with. Dragon Ball FighterZ offer many game mechanics that are not available in traditional fighting games, such as Vanish, Super Dash, and Reflect. Challenge is when players have an urge to master something. Like most fighting games, this is the case for Dragon Ball FighterZ in terms of combos, block strings, mix-ups, etc. Fellowship is a community that revolves around the game. Dragon Ball has a major fan base, not only from the FGC, but also from the Dragon Ball franchise. An example of the design quality that attracted the Dragon Ball fan base is the many references to the anime and the game. Here's an example of Goku Black's level 1 special attack in the game compared to the anime. As you can see, the anime and the game are quite similar. There are many other references, and this is one of the reasons the Dragon Ball fanbase love the game. Finally, expression is also an aesthetic in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Expression is when the player can be creative with the way the game is played. This is true for Dragon Ball FighterZ not only because of the ever-expanding amount of characters, currently 28, but also because of how every individual can play these characters differently. As you can see, the reasons for why Dragon Ball FighterZ is a successful game is clear. The game not only withholds a successful link to the FGC, but also to the Dragon Ball fanbase. The game also meets the successful qualities of a game by following with balance in the MDA framework. Casual players can have fun enjoying the action of the game because of the relatively easy gameplay mechanics for a fighting game, and competitive players can enjoy the game through mastery of combos, block strings, mix-ups, etc. The game has also seen success in the esports scene, as players from around the world such as Goichi and Sonic Fox compete at major tournaments such as EVO. Personally, I will continue to go to Dragon Ball FighterZ tournaments to support my love for the game and compete for #1. Hopefully I can see you there. Thanks for watching.